Hey guys, welcome back to another impressions video. This time to talk about Resident Evil 3, the remake. Finally, as you guys know, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, so this game came out early in 2020 and I got the game and I was a little bit late in starting the game. Made it all the way halfway through the game and then got sidetracked, so decided to start a brand new file recently, start the game from scratch, and I had a great time. This was one of my favorite games of 2020. I think I ranked it 7 on my top 15 list. And after finishing this game, I kind of wish I ranked it a little bit higher, to be honest, because I had a lot of fun with this game. I set my expectations in check. I feel like a lot of people criticized this game because it was a little bit too short. But I already knew that going in since I played the original back in the day when it got released and had a great time. So yeah, just a little bit of a background story. As you guys know, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. And I do have some cool anecdotes of when Resident Evil 3 came out back in the day. I don't have the PlayStation 1 copy. I don't have the PlayStation 1 copy. I do have the GameCube version here, as you guys can see, because I never owned a PS1. But I remember I would go to my friend's house to play all the PS1 games because he owned one. And for whatever reason, this was back in South America, the Japanese version of the game got released first. So the store that we went to had the pirated Japanese version of the game. So I remember we decided to get that in advance before the release of the English version or whatever. And we play and beat the game in Japanese. So that was a pretty interesting, I guess, time. We were just so excited, and we were surprised at how short the game was. I think we knocked it out in a couple game sessions. But yeah, a lot of fun memories of playing the game in Japanese. You really don't need to know much. You can get through the game. Obviously, the files and everything, you wouldn't know what they're saying, but we got through the game and the puzzles and had a great experience. Now, in terms of the story, Resident Evil 4, the remake, obviously it's just a remake of the game that came out in 1999. It's the same story where you play as Jill Valentine, one of the staple characters in the Resident Evil franchise, and you're trying to escape Raccoon City after the aftermath of the T-virus just spreading this time throughout the city, not just the outskirts of Raccoon City, but the entire city. So kind of cool if you guys played Resident Evil 2 and 3 because they are almost concurrent in terms of the, I guess, events that happen within the game. And of course, you have new characters here that you meet, such as Carlos Oliveira, Nikolai, and so forth, who are part of the Umbrella Special, Tactics squad. They're sent to quote unquote help contain the situation, but everything is obviously a lie, and Umbrella, it's up to no good. Once again, testing their new bioweapon, in this case the Project Nemesis, which it's an incredible, I guess, bioweapon in the sense that they were able to program his, I guess, biology in order to focus and attack STARS members, the Special Tactics team. And that's apparent from the get-go of the game, and throughout the game, he chases Jill Valentine throughout the entire game because you're a STARS member. And also, I guess, Brad Vickers, even though his fate is pretty short-lived in both the remake and the original game. So that's the gist of it. A very simple story, but I really like the setting. I really like the fact that you get to visit Raccoon City, the proper city. And, in this remake, everything comes to life. That's a good segue to the graphics portion of this impressions video, because the graphics in this game are amazing. It runs on the RE engine done by Capcom, which was also used for the Resident Evil 2 remake, and it's one of my favorite engines right now in modern gaming. A lot of detail, a lot of colorful textures, and just special effects. So Capcom did a fantastic job with that in-house graphics engine that they have going on. And Resident Evil 3, I find it a lot of fun because Resident Evil 3, as opposed to the original game, has a third-person perspective. So you have a little bit more freedom to look around and explore in detail, the sightings of Raccoon City and the different buildings that you go into, as opposed to the original one, which was obviously set in the fixed camera angles and pre-rendered background images. So fantastic way to explore the city. You also revisit a couple of other areas. If you guys played the Resident Evil 2 remake, you'll know that you go here in the Raccoon Police Department building, for example. So there are some assets that are reused in this game for better or for worse, I found that to be I found that to be very cool. Just exploring the city, the aftermath of everything. You see just the chaos. Fire everywhere. Cars that are crashing into each other, blood, obviously, and gore everywhere. And the graphics in this game are impeccable, and all the way to the cutscenes also, which are really well animated, and it just feels like a top-notch movie or a pre-rendered movie that you're watching, like a CGI movie. This game also debuts the new Jill Valentine character, which is not Julia Voth anymore, which a little bit heartbreaking for me because Julia Voth, the model that has been partaking the role of Jill Valentine since the remake of the GameCube game in 2002. She's a favorite of mine, but they decided to get a new model actress. I think this is a Russian actress, but she did a fantastic job. She grew on me the new Jill Valentine look. She has a very, mature look in terms of just being very confident, very just a go-getter, and you get that impression that she is a very well trained, police officer. In this case, she's a member of STARS. So I think her personality really reflects pretty well throughout the game as a strong character, and that goes very well with the theme of the game, obviously. The one thing that I didn't like is the new Nemesis model, that, as you guys can see here in the cover. I'm not a huge fan of how Nemesis look in this game. His teeth are just plain weird. He is intimidating, obviously. He's a very big dude, a big bioweapon. But I'm a big fan of the original Nemesis. I'm not gonna lie. The original Nemesis from RE3, the 1999 game. He is just a scary villain, and he is in fact, if I had to mention there, probably my favorite antagonist of all time, or villain of all time on a video game. He was a scary dude, just chasing you down the whole game, and I think he was a little bit more, had a little bit more, I guess, of a personality, if that makes any sense. Like whenever he would say like stars, he would be more well articulated as a villain, if that makes any sense, versus the new one. But with that being said, sound department, the game has amazing soundtrack. Obviously very subtle when you get to the save rooms and whatnot, and the special effects or the voice acting in this game, obviously pretty well done compared to the original Resident Evil games. This game has a top-notch voice writing, voice acting, and scripting to kind of like detail the story as the game goes through. Top-notch job by the voice actors in this game, and the sound effects are also amazing. Whether you're shooting zombies or monsters to the sound of the guns, it's really amazing in this game. And finally, the gameplay portion, as I was mentioning previously, this is a third-person shooter, pretty much. It's a fairly short game. It took me under 7 hours, which seems to be normal for this game. And once you know what to do, like if I were to play a second run of this game, I foresee myself finishing it a lot faster, just because you know where to go, what enemies to look for and things like that. So it's really a short game. I knew that beforehand, based on experience from the original 1999 release. I knew what I was getting into. And that seems to be kind of like one of the criticisms of this game, how short it is. For me personally, I picked this up during Black Friday of 2020 for 15 bucks. So for this game to be 15 bucks, I mean, I cannot complain. 7 hours well spent. And the cool thing is the game has a lot of replay value. The game allows you to replay the game and earn points via challenges, kind of similar to Resident Evil 2. You can unlock new art concepts and new weapons, new features and whatnot. So the game, even though it's short, has a lot of replay value in order to unlock more costumes and bonus features within the game. So that's pretty cool, and I can easily see myself replaying this game, even more so than Resident Evil 2, which I loved. Resident Evil 2 was my game of 2019. But the one thing that I like about Resident Evil 3 is there are some quality of life kind of like updates to the game. Similarly to the original Resident Evil 3, you have this dodge mechanic, which is much better in this remake because you have actual control on how to dodge. Although I have to say that the timing has to be very, very precise, very exact. So it's sometimes hard to dodge, zombies and monsters and whatnot. But if you manage to do so, you get a cool bonus where the screen kind of slows down and it allows you to shoot the enemy with a more high percentage of critical hits. So that's a pretty cool mechanic that was added to this game. In terms of the overall progression, it's similar to the original one. You start in the downtown area in Raccoon City, then you make your way through like the sewer area. It doesn't follow the exploration on a one-by-one basis. I mean, there are some new areas in this game. Unfortunately, there are some cuts, like the clock tower area is not featured in Resident Evil 3 remake. You kind of see that area, but it's not a one-for-one, copy of the original game, for better or for worse. There are some, in my opinion, some nicer prices in the remake. But at the same time, there are some unfortunate exclusions from the original game. The hospital obviously is there, which is a very scary place to be. Great graphics within the hospital. It was a very eerie, a scary place to be in. And, I just had a great time playing this game. I would say, even though I acknowledge that Resident Evil 2 Remake, it's the better game, it's better made, there's better content, it's just a better paced. I really enjoyed the fast-paced nature of Resident Evil 3 and how it was able to kind of open up the gameplay mechanic and just let you explore Raccoon City for what it is, and just an overall fun game. I was pleasantly surprised by this game. I knew what I was getting into. It's a short, scary action game, but that's exactly what I was looking for, and that the game delivered. So with that being said, hopefully Capcom makes good use of the RE engine with hopefully future remakes. I'm very hopeful that Resident Evil 4 will get a remake soon, and hopefully they take the plunge and perhaps do a remake of Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1 and Code Veronica. Maybe that's too much asking, but the Resident Evil franchise is, after all, Capcom's kind of like best-selling, I believe, from what I understand in terms of sales. So why not make use of that engine, and we fans will keep supporting as long as the games are good, obviously. But with that being said, loved Resident Evil 3. No surprises here. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. Highly recommend it if you guys are into horror games. This one is a little bit more action based. Again, a little bit disappointing in how Nemesis was handled in this game. Not as scary as the original Nemesis, but I guess that nothing can be perfect, right? With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all later. Take it easy.